You're listening to Thursday Night AMP on the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
AngryMarks.com pro wrestling and mixed martial arts podcast. We have the full lineup here tonight. My name is Stevie J, and I'm joined on the line by two men. First up, Tai Chi Will Huckabee.
Yes, and don't forget that I'm also a national treasure and a reality TV star as well.
And an AIWF heavyweight champion.
And that as well, yes. Let's not forget world champion as well. Yes.
And speaking of world champions, champion of most times in a row going to a yoga class, Jason Harland, a.k.a. the Great Sudoku.
Beat the traffic, Rusev Day.
I want to beat that holy pay-per-view out of its mercy. I want to do something terrible to that pay-per-view. Beating traffic is not enough. I want to beat it to a pulp.
I'm glad that people are finally coming around to my point of view on WWE. It's like this was just kind of universally panned as one of the worst pay-per-views that WWE has put out. I'm glad I didn't watch it, but reading about it, it's like, man, it was that bad. Fans were chanting for CM Punk and Rusev Day and Beat the Traffic and actually leaving during... Well, I can't blame them for leaving during the main event when it's Roman Reigns going over, and you've already had your one world title match before, and it was a no DQ match that ended in a fuck finish.
All right, since we're jumping to the end, I just want to say something about that right away. I heard a, "This is boring. This is boring." And once I heard that, I was like, well, if you're so damn bored, it's 10:30 my time, it's 11:30 Eastern, why aren't you leaving? And then I saw people in the crowd getting up and leaving. I was like, okay, good, you're smart. Instead of just sitting there and chanting, "This is boring," you are actually going home. I applaud you for that.
Some new chants for WWE fans. There's always change the channel, and a better one would be New Japan.
The only time I ever liked Change the Channel was when they did the ECW on Sci-Fi from the Hammerstein Ballroom. And that was original old school hardcore ECW fans who were shitting on the version of ECW that they were putting on. That was a very appropriate use of Change the Channel. Go ahead, Will.
I was going to say, like, in the long line of bad pay-per-views or lackluster pay-per-views, WrestleMania included, this may have been the worst pay-per-view ever. And I didn't enjoy the greatest Royal Rumble at all. Like, the only saving grace for that was, World Slide. And this was way worse than that. So, I mean, on a bright note, I'm trying to be an optimist when I say this. It really can't get any worse than what it was on Backlash. I'm really hoping it can't get any worse than that.
Let me just break this down since I'm the closest thing to a WWE apologist, and I'm still shitting on this. Out of the three of us, I probably like WWE the most, but I have to say this. In descending order, WrestleMania 34 because it was too long, the greatest Royal Rumble ever because it was just a paid infomercial, and then Backlash because even an infomercial was better than this shit.
Wow. Exactly. It was, Jason, be glad that you did not watch it. Like, I watched bits and pieces of it, and I'll be the first one to tell you that it was horrifically dreadful in every way imaginable. There was I can't find one redeemable saving quality of that pay-per-view.
I can find one and only one. Seth Rollins and The Miz had a good 20-minute match for the Intercontinental title, and it was just a long downhill, negative, backward, -5 stars slide from there.
I can't even say I like that match because, and once again, I've said it before, and I'll say it again, the Intercontinental title, in my opinion, only means something when the Miz has it. Like, you can tell that that's his championship now. You know what I'm saying? In this day and age, the Intercontinental title is synonymous with the Miz, and with very few exceptions, Chris Jericho being one of them. I can't get excited if anybody else is the Intercontinental champion.
See, this
it would
is where I'm
elevate
going
a
to
guy
have to
like
disagree.
the Miz, but it doesn't elevate
Jason,
a guy like
I
Seth
have
Rollins.
I really have to rebut that point first before you go ahead, and I'm sorry, but it's a scenario where they once and only once on this whole show did something right, because we all assumed going in the Miz was going to win and break the record for most Intercontinental Championships. So for Seth Rollins to retain in a very fun, watchable match was a great way of saying this still matters to the Miz because he was trying that hard, but this also matters to Seth Rollins because he went out there and defended it with pride and was able to retain and prevent the Miz from achieving his goal. So it told a great story. Sorry, Jason, please go ahead now.
Well, first of all, Tetsuya Naito knows how to treat an Intercontinental Championship. I'll put that out there first. Now, Seth Rollins is just so far above the Intercontinental title, it's just not funny. A guy like The Miz is elevated by that title, especially chicken shit heel Miz, who, embraces that title, and that is his title, and he can take the ball and run with it, and he's, heading, next time he gets it, he's probably going to break Pedro Morales' record for holding that, where Seth Rollins should really be going for what the title that Brock has, the Universal title, or switch brands and like everybody else did, and I guess he can't because he's got that Monday Night Rollins thing, but really, the Intercontinental title is beneath Seth Rollins, and it's not beneath The Miz. I heard the match was good, but I don't agree with the booking.
All right, well, we can only go downhill from here. We had Nia Jax defeating Alexa Bliss in... words really fail me because I'm trying to describe how awful this was. Terrible, atrocious, pugnacious, vomitous. You picked the right word out of those, and it was that, because this match made no sense logistically, intellectually, emotionally, or anything. I was watching a giant woman sell for a tiny little midget, and then I was watching the giant woman make a comeback by beating up the tiny little midget, and my brain was just rebelling against the whole thing. Like, no, every part of this story is wrong.
And I heard there was a very bad, very contrived anti-bullying promo with Michael Cole afterwards.
Go ahead, Will.
I was going to say, they booked that match completely backwards. It should have been Nia Jax beating the piss out of her from the very, very get-go. And then Alexa Bliss kind of making, I guess, what could be called a heel comeback, and then still lose. The entire match made no sense psychologically whatsoever. It almost gave me... Good.
No, I was going to say, to further your point, I would have bought it if she was just destroying Alexa for like 2 or 3 minutes, and Alexa was just barely kicking out each time, and then all of a sudden, Alexa tripped her into the ropes, and she caught her neck, and she started choking, and then Alexa went on the offense for like a minute. And then I would have been like, okay, the heel did one dastardly thing and managed to make a comeback, and then Nia's going to destroy her again. That would have been a perfect match.
Exactly, and also my big deal with it also at the same time is that they just had a really good. They just got done. I thought they were done with a really good program that culminated at WrestleMania, and then they go right back to almost the same stuff, and it's not original. It's not creative. They're not giving these ladies free reign to do stuff. Like, you. And this is my problem with how they're booking Nia Jax and Alexa Bliss is that. You have these ladies doing this bullying thing, but this whole storyline is based on bullying and Nia Jax's size. But the other female wrestlers, it's all about athletics and so athletic, and they're such great wrestlers. And why can't this storyline be the same thing? Like it's just, I just hate the entire storyline. There's nothing about this story that I would never like. I would never like this storyline as long as they continue down this road.
Right. The best storyline possible would be if she was just straight up Awesome Kong. Like, she's just a badass, and she just goes out there and kills people, and everybody else just has to try to hang with her, but they can't.
Exactly. I understand why they make it seem like, and not taking nothing away from her, but it's like Asuka is this, this beast that's undefeated and can't. She wants a year of not being defeated or whatever, and then you have somebody who's legitimately a beast who is losing and is making. And they always make her look smaller and weaker than what she is. It's like, come on, like, don't do that. Like, I just didn't like. Like I said, once again, I said this entire pay-per-view was garbage. I don't give a shit. It was garbage.
Yeah, well, here's where it just even went really further off the rails than it already had for me with Jeff Hardy and Randy Orton. I left this show on. I left the stream on, but I mentally checked out. I turned on my Bluetooth speaker. I started playing rap songs. I started playing Metallica. I went into pure wake the fuck up mode. Like, wake the fuck up. Because I was so bored after these 3 matches. I'm including the pre-show match with Ruby Riott and Bayley, which was also no good. And it just was going downhill so fast as I was watching one boring spot after another I had seen from Jeff Hardy and Randy Orton a million times before. I'm like, I need some tunes!
There was no creativity. I didn't understand.
And it's not like either of these guys are bad wrestlers. They should be able to have a better match than that.
Exactly. I'm. You know what? I'm not even going to blame the talent for how bad this pay-per-view is. I'm going to blame the creatives. I'm going to blame creative, and I'm going to blame all the backstage agents because they should demand more out of their top talent, and they're just letting these guys coast. If all these dudes want to do is just hold a spot or these agents aren't creative enough to come up with really good finishes anymore, then damn it, find somebody else to take their place because I'm not even going to blame the talent anymore. This is all creative and the backstage agents who are able to put together these matches.
All right, yeah. They call them producers in WWE and not agents. Well, what did they produce here? What were they actually producing? I would really like to know because, as you said, that even the finish of this was totally uncreative every match we've ever seen. Orton goes for the hanging DDT, calls for the RKO, gets reversed into a roll-up, hits, and then Jeff hits the twist of fate and the swanton, which is every finish to every Jeff Hardy match ever, except maybe not usually against Randy Orton. So, whatever.
Jason, I'm gonna tell you like this, Jason. Here's the best way to describe this pay-per-view. You see those memes where they're like, "Oh man, the greatest Royal Rumble was the worst pay-per-view ever in WWE," and then you have that next frame where it's like, "Here comes Backlash," and he's like, "Hold my beer." that's the best way. Yeah, that's the best way to describe this pay-per-view. It's like, "Oh, WrestleMania was bad. Here comes the greatest Royal Rumble." And they're like, "Oh man, that was the worst pay-per-view," and then here comes Backlash. They're like, "Hold my beer. Watch this."
Oh, no.
Alexa Bliss was bad. Hold my beer. Here comes Jeff Hardy and Randy Orton.
No. We really got the hold my beer after this match because then, and I like Elias. I'm a walk with Elias kind of guy. I'm actually down with the Elias gimmick. I think it's fun. But this was a massive, epic train wreck. First of all, they're in New Jersey, so he's trying to get heat by making fun of Bruce Springsteen, and it's like the most obvious cliched bullshit. It's like, make fun of the local sports team when you're in their city. Okay, we get it. You're making fun of Bruce Springsteen, the boss. In 2018, I don't even think fans in New Jersey give that much of a shit about Bruce Springsteen, because that's like either my generation or maybe even my dad's generation. I don't think that music is relevant to kids today or whoever.
I wonder if that was a Vince McMahon call. I wonder if Vince McMahon was like, "Yeah, mention Bruce Springsteen.
Right.
Kids love him."
So then this shit show gets even worse when the New Day comes out with drums and cymbals and pancakes, and they interrupt Elias. And again, I'm normally a New Day fan. I normally like their shtick, but this segment was getting longer and not getting any better. And then they started playing, and I actually wanted to walk with Elias because their playing was not that good. Then Aiden English came out to sing. And again, I'm normally a fan of Aiden English, but since this wasn't actually a Rusev Day match, it was just not even a point. It was just another interruption. And then we got Titus Worldwide, and then we got Breezango, and then we got Bobby Roode, and it just went on and on and on and fucking on.
It was one of those, we have all of these guys left. We got to give them a spot on the show so they can get a check from this. What can we do?
But we don't have a match for them. Let's just throw them into a clusterfuck segment.
When No Way Jose came out for this, I was like, fuck this whole pay-per-view. They could suck my dick.
And you know what? Like, I was really sad about that because No Way Jose, I've known him since he's been on the Indies and stuff before he went to NXT, before he got to WWE and stuff. And so I've really been excited to see him make his, his Raw debut and see what they're going to do with him on the main roster. And, like, if this is any indication of what they're going to do with him, I'm almost tempted to message him or to tweet him and be like, hey, just ask for your release.
Yeah, well, it is not to do with him. It is this segment. It was the way it was constructed. It was the length of time. It was obvious that it was filler. It was not funny. It was not good. And it just kept going on and on. And this is a pay-per-view that ran till 11:30 Eastern, and they had this filler segment in the middle of it, which is goddamn stupid. You could have ended this show at 11 o'clock without all the padding and the filler and the bullshit. And speaking of bullshit, Daniel Bryan and Big Cass. Okay, I'm going to lose my goddamn mind. I got to calm down a little bit.
Before you lose your mind, I'm going to ask, was there really any point to having this fucking match?
No.
Really?
No. I momentarily, now, somebody put the Venn diagram up of overlapping circles of WWE fans and hope and giving up on hope. And I was all three of these things at the beginning of these match. I was like, okay, it's Daniel Bryan. I fucking love him. I've been watching this guy since like 2001. Bryan Danielson is one of the greatest wrestlers in wrestling history. He's certainly the best wrestler of maybe the last 10 to 15 years. Even Big Cass can't fuck this up. And then they did. And then I had a little hope again. I was like, oh, Daniel Bryan's on offense. Maybe they're just going to end this quick. And then Cass got the heat. I was, oh my God. And time slowed to a crawl. And the stars stopped moving through the universe. And my soul plummeted out of my body into an empty void of nothingness. And this match went on.
My question is, when did the Cass is what? He's 6'10", 7 feet, whatever.
Yeah,
he's a tall
7
guy.
foot tall, and you can't teach that.
When did they stop telling big guys to work like big men? He's 7 feet tall. Daniel Bryan is like 5'8" at the most. Why does he not just work like a big man? There's no sense why there was that much movement during that match. It should have been a very slow, methodical ground and pound, grab a hold and just wear him down and make him fight to stand up.
You know, there was a joke when I was a kid that I remembered watching this match, and all I could think of whenever the announcers mentioned how big and how tall Big Cass was, all I could think was, I didn't know you could stack shit that high.
But once again, this is the problem with everybody, with the developmental program that WWE has, where everybody ends up working the same as everybody else. And you don't let these guys go out here on the road and work these shit shows and work these independents and find themselves and find out what works best for them. Like, this is the type of shit that you get. You get a 7 foot tall guy who can't work like he's 7 feet tall.
Yeah. Why is Big Cass going for mounted cross-face punches like a mixed martial artist? That is not how a guy his size should be working.
Can you imagine if Andre the Giant would have done half of the things that he did at that pay-per-view? Mm-hmm. Have you ever seen Big John Studd do something like that?
Mm-hmm. The only thing that Big Cass does that makes sense in this match is when he hits the big boot. And other than that, it just, no. And then, after watching a terrible match, Daniel Bryan actually grounded him, put him in the crossface, and tapped him out with the S-lock. I'm like, did we have to go through all of that just for Daniel Bryan to win? Jesus fucking Christ!
That, and the fact that he really didn't even work his arm or his neck enough to where, I don't get me wrong, as a watcher of MMA and boxing and combat sports, I understand if somebody puts you in a submission lock, like if Ronda Rousey gets me in the arm bar, I'm going to immediately tap out because I don't want her to break my arm.
Right.
But at the same time, in the concept of wrestling, it's like, you're 5'8", he's 7 feet. You have to break this guy down.
Right.
It's the
wrestling psychology. You got to work over the arm before you submit the arm because that's how you sell it to the audience.
Exactly. And there was none of that whatsoever.
No. And I don't blame Daniel Bryan for this. Again, like you said, there's an agent, there's a producer, there's whatever the fuck title they're called in WWE that's responsible for how badly put together this match was. Because if Daniel Bryan was calling this match himself, he could have come up with something better.
Without a doubt. I'm pretty sure he could have called it in the ring, and it would have been better than what the hell we saw.
Yeah. Hey, here's the depressing part, Jason. This feud must continue because Bryan got beat up by Big Cass after the match was over, so thank God you didn't have to watch that.
That, and I heard he suffered a clean loss, too.
Well, yeah, he did to Rusev on SmackDown, but they kind of used Big Cass as the excuse for that. They were like, oh, he took such a beating from Big Cass at the pay-per-view that Rusev should say thank you to Big Cass for softening Bryan up.
It just makes perfect sense. Let's derail Daniel Bryan real early. Speaking of derailing, another thing that kind of got on me, I didn't even watch the show, but Carmella has gotten over twice now on Charlotte Flair, who ended Asuka's streak. What the fuck?
Yeah. Oh, I was so gone after this Big Cass match. I barely even remember this. I remember Charlotte hitting a suicide dive. I remember watching Charlotte sell for Carmella and not believing a moment of it. I remember Carmella doing like an elbow smash or a drop kick and coming up a half foot short. I remember watching Carmella bump for Charlotte before she even got touched. And I'm like, are you day one of wrestling school? Can you make this look halfway believable, please?
Have her come out in one of those day one-ish shirts.
Yeah, day one, but not the good kind of day one. Not down since day one. You haven't enrolled in day one. That's your shirt. Enroll in day one, Carmella, please.
I mean, yeah, God, Charlotte would really have to slow down to be at Carmella's level. I just can't fathom how this would have been competitive, nor how Carmella would have gone over.
And here is the mind-boggling part. Charlotte is choosing to work injured. She has a ruptured implant, but she said, no, I'm going to work WrestleMania, I'm going to work Backlash, I'm going to go on the European tour, and then I'm going to get surgery to get this fixed.
And she's a heel, right?
Right. This is, well, I don't even know what this booking, I don't know if she's supposed to be a heel. I think she's probably supposed to be the babyface in this, even though she ended Asuka's streak, and we all loved Asuka, but I think she's the face, because Carmella sure as shit ain't the face. Oh my God, listening to Carmella scream in this match was go away heat. I had to mute the TV. And Carmella gets on social media. She's like, oh, you people don't understand what getting heat is all about. I'm like, listen, lady, I understand that you're trying to get heat. I get that you're yelling to get the crowd mad at you. But the crowd wasn't mad at you. Nobody cared about this match. The only person that was mad was me because I had to listen to you. And I'm not in the building. I'm not in New Jersey.
That was my thinking, that Charlotte Flair can draw that heat from the crowd, but Carmella can't. Carmella can draw crickets.
Crickets was literally what you heard during this match. And then, and just to add more insult to our already extensive list of injuries here, not including Carmella and Charlotte injuring my soul, we had to watch a no disqualification match between AJ and Shinsuke Nakamura. A no disqualification, let me repeat that, a no disqualification match that ended in a double countout.
Only in WWE.
God.
Remember when we said, we're like, hey, Shinsuke versus AJ, if they let them do 25% of what they would do in New Japan, it would still be better than anything else on the roster.
Yeah, I do.
Remember we said that, guys?
Yeah,
I don't think they let them do 3%. Like, for them two guys, that was such a bad match with such horrible booking. And I feel like when they told them to finish, AJ Styles just looked at Shinsuke and was like, screw it, whatever. Like, we're doing a no DQ match as a double count out. Like, you know what? I'm not killing myself tonight. Let's just go out there and whatever. Like, whatever, I don't care. But it really felt like this match, the tempo, the pacing, just the way the match was put together, it legitimately looked like, it felt like to me, like they got to the belt when they were in the production meeting and they said, oh yeah, the no DQ match, and then they double count out, that they both looked at each other and was like, F this shit. And just didn't even try.
Let me give Ian Clark some credit here because he agreed to do recaps of the non-major pay-per-views now that he's no longer doing the Raw recaps on Monday nights, which I don't blame him. That's a 3-hour show, and that's a lot of work on a Monday night when most of us have to go to work on a Tuesday morning. So he made a good choice there, but I feel bad for him because this show was longer than a Raw, worse than most episodes of Raw, and then in his recap, because he is an intelligent person, he wrote the following sentence: AJ Styles still hasn't learned what a protective cup is. And I am so with him on that. Thank you. How has nobody learned to wear a jockstrap with a steel cup? Come the fuck on.
Because they're uncomfortable. And when you're wearing the cup, especially in spandex, it leaves a bulge. And then this is a family-friendly show. You don't want some little 9-year-old girl look at her mom and say, Mommy, what's that in his pants?
Okay, well then have it be a street fight match and have him wear something baggy and have a cup on underneath it. It's not that hard.
I understand. I'm just telling you. Like, can you imagine if, like, you know, Too Cold Scorpio was having to wear a cup or something? He's like, hey, Mommy, why does he have a Tupperware bowl in his trunks? Yeah.
I double appreciate the reference because I was digging through my autographs to find my autograph photo of Bruno Sammartino, and I found one of Too Cold Scorpio. And I cannot even remember which indie show I got Too Cold Scorpio's autograph at, but I am so damn glad I have it.
There you go. See, I'm glad I can make you laugh real quick. Something had, like, because there was nothing funny about this match or this pay-per-view whatsoever.
No.
I am eagerly awaiting the day that I'm watching a New Japan broadcast and Subconscious blares over the PA system and Shinsuke Nakamura comes walking out. I eagerly await that day.
I do not eagerly await the day I see another Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn match. Never again. There was maybe one good spot in this whole match when Braun Strowman gave chase around the ring and bulldozed into Kevin Owens, and he took a bump and nearly went over the barricade. I popped for that. That was a good spot. Other than that, fuck this match.
Could I say, I saw on Facebook earlier today where somebody made a good point about the booking of Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley is an MMA champion as well, former MMA heavyweight champion as well, with a better, even though he didn't really fight in the UFC, he has a better overall MMA record than Brock Lesnar. And there's never any mention of his MMA career whatsoever. So I'm looking at this match, and you have Braun Strowman, who is the most physically imposing person on the roster, hands down, bar none. He is the monster amongst men. And then you have another legitimate MMA heavyweight champion. And they're a tag team, and why are they just not running through everybody? Why are they not beating the brakes off of everybody? Why are they not getting the same push and the same look as Brock Lesnar?
To be fair, and I really hate to point this out, but I am the MMA guy because I write for MMA Mania. The two heavyweight championships that Bobby Lashley held are Shark Fights Championship and XFN Heavyweight Championship. I don't think anybody has seen, heard, or watched either of those organizations, so I can't blame WWE for not mentioning that he was a heavyweight champion. If he had been a heavyweight champion at Bellator, I might have mentioned it. If he'd been a heavyweight champion in UFC, if he'd ever been in UFC, I'd have mentioned it. But since he's not, I don't think naming the fact that he was a Shark Fights champion really matters. Now, would I have played up his MMA credentials? Yes. They should have done that. Jason, are you still here?
I am here, yes.
Okay. Let me check the chat. See if
he did say if the call dropped to call him back in the chat.
Okay, well, I did call him back. Will, do we have you back now?
Yes, I'm back.
All right. So how much of my rant about Bobby Lashley's heavyweight championships did you hear?
I didn't have to hear it. I understand that his two titles that he had really didn't mean a whole lot in the world of MMA. But he's still a very I'm not going to say that I could go in there and do what the hell he did. And I'm a pretty tough guy. So, I mean, the average person, the average professional wrestler couldn't beat Bobby Lashley in a street fight. I'm sorry.
No, I totally agree with you. And the fact that they're not willing to play that up is mind-boggling. But then again, so is the fact that a non-title singles match between Roman Reigns and Samoa Joe went on last. And this was their brilliant idea to get heat as the clock neared closer to midnight Eastern in Rutherford, New Jersey. They said, hey, guess what? All you people here who are in this building, Newark, New Jersey, my bad, not East Rutherford, Newark, New Jersey at the Prudential Center. Hey, all of you New Jerseyites, guess what we're going to do to make you mad? Samoa Joe is going to put Roman Reigns on the ground in a rest hold and tell him to give up. A rest hold. In the match that was the main event, Samoa Joe took him to the ground and held him there. And no wonder the crowd started leaving. No wonder the crowd started chanting. No wonder the crowd left the building and didn't care because they don't like Roman Reigns. And Samoa Joe is not going to get the heat. He's just going to make them not like him either. So you had two guys that they didn't like instead of just one.
And a show that ran way over.
Is there such a thing as running over? I mean, in this day and age, I don't even know because on the WWE Network, you can do whatever you want. So can you even really call it running over?
I would think the venue itself would have some kind of curfew.
You might think that, but I guess not in this case.
Not in New Jersey.
No.
Forget about it.
Yeah, forget about this match, all right. Oh.
Forget about the pay-per-view.
Forget about my life after watching this show for, from 6 o'clock till 11:30? Oh, my Lord. Will, what do you have to say about Joe and Reigns?
My thing is, I feel like they booked this entire thing completely wrong. I don't have a problem with him trying to keep Roman Reigns down the ground, trying to stop him from doing the Superman punch, or the spear or whatever. I just feel like the build-up to it was wrong. And the fact that we knew once. The biggest problem with Roman Reigns is that they never push him down the card. No matter how many times this guy loses, no matter how many times this guy gets beat, I don't even care if the fans like him or not. But as a booking team, you've consistently booked this guy as a loser. You can't keep giving him the main event slot, especially with somebody when he's working with people like Samoa Joe, like Braun Strowman, et cetera, et cetera. Like, there has to come a time where you push him down the card and make him work back up. As far as this match goes, this should have been the match where Roman Reigns lost and now he's finally been defeated. His spirit is broken, and now he has to come back up and fight his way back up the card with a vengeance.
Yeah, and you just made a point that I absolutely have to add on to, which is that Roman Reigns keeps getting this spot, and yet he goes on TV and complains that people have it out for him, that WWE has a conspiracy out for him, that the referee screwed him at the Greatest Royal Rumble, that everybody seems to have it in for him, that Brock Lesnar is Vince McMahon's boy, but this is my yard. You know what? Shut up, Roman. You get to main event every fucking show. You have nothing to complain about. You get opportunity after opportunity, no matter how often you lose. Shut up.
Exactly. Now, can we talk about something better?
Oh,
like Don Taku?
But before
yes.
I fucking stroke out here, please, let's talk about something better.
Yeah, we could talk about the second night of Don Taku.
Okay, let's
which was way better than Backlash.
Can we at least start with Jericho then? Because I got to talk about that. About Jericho and Tetsuya Naito and that fucking ring bell he hit him with. Holy shit.
That blade job and that goth girl who was cosplaying Chris Jericho in that mask there? Yeah, that was weird. Who was that goth girl with the black lipstick that pretended to be Chris Jericho? That was bizarre.
Okay, you mentioned the blade job. Now, we're not going to kayfabe this because I think everybody could see the referee doing the blade job unless you watched the replay, because I heard in the replay they edited that out. But still, the visual either way made it sure look like he got absolutely killed with that ring bell.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way a ring bell would have lacerated him in that fashion.
No.
I'll put it that way. Even if it, I mean, I watched a replay, and granted, I am a smart mark. I am a smart, but it was obvious that it was a blade job and not hard way from the bell.
Right. But then again, like Will said before, it's the whole selling of the idea for the wrestling audience. Even if you might know intellectually that's not believable, just the blood smeared everywhere all over Naito. It was like, damn, he got clean clocked.
But it was too over the top. If there was less blood, it would have been more impactful. Where this, I mean, it was just a ludicrous amount of blood that just made it seem like, okay, blade job. I mean, it was, as I said, in this case, less is more.
I don't know. Maybe it was ludicrous. Maybe he went out there to throw them bows.
Brock Lesnar bows.
Oh, yeah. Well,
that's actually hard way.
Will, what did you make of this whole Chris Jericho appearance? Because we kind of predicted this on last week's show.
I'm going to tell you right now is that first of all, when it comes to originating themselves, or reinventing themselves, making people want to see you making people want to pay money to see you perform, whatever the hell you want to call it, Chris Jericho is a master at that. I felt like he was going to make a return eventually to New Japan Pro Wrestling. And just the way that he did it, last time with Kenny Omega, he jumped out of the crowd or whatever. This time it was like he had the LIJ mask on and just jumped him right there. The only problem I had, they let him beat on him, so you knew, oh shit, okay, something's up. If they would have had the young boys of security trying to pull him off and he's fighting them off, whatever, then it would have been just that much better. But overall, the execution, I would give this an A-, just because the security wasn't acting like this was a random fan. And like
eventually LIJ hit the ring, and eventually the young boys hit the ring.
Yeah.
It wasn't until Naito was severely messed up, but
yeah.
I'll agree with the A-, and I'll give it an A just because they took a 10-man throwaway tag match and made it interesting by the extracurricular activities afterwards.
And the criticism...
And can we say...
Sorry, Will. Briefly, the criticism I heard of why didn't Los Ingobernables go after Jericho because they had the man advantage, I actually like the idea that they didn't immediately jump on him because they were more concerned about Naito. They were like, this is our homie. He's cut open. He's bleeding. We got to take care of him instead of going after him. I thought that was good from a wrestling psychology standpoint. They weren't worrying about getting even. They were worrying about their homie.
Which is more in character with LIJ. Yeah, I mean, if it was somebody from Suzuki-gun, if they had attacked Suzuki, have Lance Archer or somebody go after Jericho. But no, this is LIJ. It's a little bit different.
Yeah, they're a true brotherhood. They stick up for each other. And that's why it's even funnier that Jericho has a T-shirt now that says, Lista Ingobernables de Japón, and he's checking names off the list. That is a brilliant T-shirt.
It also said Ingobernables to Jericho, did it not?
I think it did. You might be right. I might have even botched that. So, yeah, it's a brilliant shirt. It's going to be a hot topic.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, he's kind of spoofing on that. But, yeah, as I said, that was a nice little twist to what was otherwise just another throwaway multi-man tag match, a 10-man tag match between Suzuki-gun and LIJ.
Honestly, it's my highlight of the show, but I want you guys to break down the rest of it, and I'll just go along here, because I just wanted to get that out of the way first.
All right, now we got that out of the way, we'll start at the beginning. First match we had... Go ahead, Will.
I'm going to say, because we were talking about that match and stuff, you were talking about it was a throwaway 10-man match. I will go ahead and say that it really wasn't, as far as 10-man matches go, it really wasn't that bad of a fucking match, in my opinion. And the spot with Jericho just made it that much better.
And there was definitely some bad blood between Suzuki and Naito, especially when they were on the outside of the ring, and Suzuki's just throwing Naito into the guardrail and just messing him up. Just like, you took my title. You don't even have the courtesy to come out with the title around your waist.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. But yeah, we can start from the beginning and talk about this.
All right, yeah, we had Taguchi, Tiger Mask, and Liger, because you have to have Tiger Mask and Liger open things up on the New Japan card. Taking on Yuya Uemura, son of Taichi, Ren Narita, and son of Red Shoes, Shota Umino. And yeah, as you would expect, Taguchi Japan here got the win. Son of Taichi got pinned, or got submitted by the Taguchi ankle lock. But what was interesting about this one is that after Taguchi's music played, they played Liger's music because Liger is just that over and the fans wanted to hear Liger's theme.
What's interesting to me, actually, was hearing the post-show reaction from Brian and Dave, where Dave just starts raving about Uemura and Narita and talking about how they're both going to be huge fucking stars.
Time will tell.
I would definitely say that. I would definitely say that this group of young lions is really, really good. They're really aggressive. They pick up on the basics. They do the basic stuff very, very well, which is, the groundwork for being an amazing professional wrestler. And these guys do an amazing job when it comes to doing the basics, with being aggressive, with trying to get into, these vets and stuff faces and show them like, hey, yes, we're young lions. Yes, we're young boys. And yes, we're probably going to do 1,000 squats after this match. But while we're in this ring for 10 minutes, I'm going to take it to you.
Right. And I think Dave's of the same opinion. Like, this might be the best group of young lions they've had in many a year. So let's see where they go from here.
I'm really curious to see what they're like during their excursions and what they're like when they come back from their excursions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's get them in the U.S. and Mexico and get them working with some guys over here and then see what they come back like. I want to see that.
Kind of the intangibles that are there, yeah. Mm-hmm. See what happens, what they can do with their character development, which is a lot of what happens during the excursion, especially to CMLL, to develop a personality and a character other than your, black trunk young lion. It's time to graduate from that.
But, on a complete side note, and I know you're going to address this in a minute, so sorry for derailing it, but the opposite kind of happened when we saw CJ Parker go from the United States to Japan. It's like suddenly he developed all his charisma and personality as Juice Robinson. It's like, where was this before?
Well, that was his excursion. His excursion is still going on.
Right. Yeah, I hope his excursion never ends. But anyway, back to the card.
Back to the card. Next match, we had a tag team match. Bullet Club, Yujiro Takahashi and Chase Owens took on the 45-year-old Lion, Tomoyuki Oka, and Yuji Nagata, who came to the ring with a belt, and I was so curious as to what this belt was. I had to go online and look it up, and it is one half of the All-Asia tag titles that he holds with Jun Akiyama. So Nagata came to the ring with that title, and yeah, Chase Owens, as we predicted, we predicted that Oka was going to eat the pin in this one, and he did, and Owens pinned him with the package pile driver.
Yeah, no problem.
Can I say?
Go ahead.
Can we all admit that over the course of the last year, Chase Owens has really filled in his spot in the Bullet Club?
I was thinking about that when I was watching that. I'm like, you know what? I'm like, damn it, I can't think of Chase Owens as the forgotten member of Bullet Club anymore, because he's really not.
No, he's graduated. He's no longer man, but he's man.
I say he's really taken that role and his spot in the Bullet Club as, the B team and made the most out of it. He's done a really good job. And I'm not just saying that because I'm cool with him and because we're friends. I'm saying it because his work has gotten so much better. His spot in Bullet Club. And you can really see this. They're slowly but surely giving him a lot more responsibility inside New Japan.
I feel like it's him growing in the same way I described as CJ Parker growing as Juice Robinson. It's like going to Japan has just made him a better person overall.
Yes, it has. Yes, it has. I will admit that.
Yeah, once he shed that, NWA moniker and embraced the Bullet Club and was with Bullet Club and became a full-fledged member, yeah, it's been an uphill climb for him, but he's gotten to the top of that mountain.
All right, and then our third match was the Chaos faction, Shoyo and Romero, defeating Suzuki-gun team of Takashi Iizuka, Taichi, and Taka Michinoku, which I'm sure
this was great
Will's
because
heart.
They fucked with Taichi's music, which was awesome during the beginning. It's like he wanted to go, do his usual lip sync thing, but they cut directly to Iizuka's music, and Taichi's there tapping the mic that of course isn't on because he just lip syncs. But it was funny, and Will says they've been doing that a lot in New Japan lately.
Yeah, but I just pictured Will crying into his beer like, "Oh, that's my boy."
Exactly. Overall, this was a pretty good match. For some reason, I felt like Rocky Romero was like the odd man out in this match. he just, for some reason, just really didn't fit. And I don't know if that's him trying to get used to working with Sean Yo as a tag team, or it's just because, just regular general ring rust. I'm not sure, but he just kind of felt like the odd man out in this match.
Everything old is new again because the finisher that Roppongi 3K used is called 3K, which looked very surprisingly eerie similar to the 3D, the Dudley Death Drop. So 3K, 3D,
You know what? I don't care. They're a good enough tag team that if they want to rip off the Dudley Boys, let them fucking rip off the Dudley Boys.
Do what you got to do, but yeah, they picked up the win over Taka Michinoku. They hit him with the not 3D, with the 3K.
I might even start calling it that when I see the Dudley Boys do it. I'm like, yeah, it's the 3K.
It's the 3K.
Okay, match number 4.
And yeah, this was another weird one. We had Toa Hanare come out, and it looked like he had like Sharpie marker drawn all over his face, and like this wannabe male. I mean, it was like a poor man's version of Chakotay, like drawn with Sharpie marker.
Yeah, I saw you marking out for that in our chat room. You were like, who the hell took the marker to his face while he was sleeping?
It's like, yeah, who drew on Hanare's face with a Sharpie?
Did somebody draw a penis on him? Are we in summer camp now?
It wasn't quite that, but you could tell it was supposed to be some kind of Maori tribal design, but it looked really bad. And speaking of really bad, he teamed with Togi Makabe. They took on the much better team of Toru Yano and Tomohiro Ishii, and yeah, Ishii ended up just destroying Hanare with a brainbuster. Though Hanare did get in some offense, but it wasn't enough. Ishii was able to put him away.
Yeah, short match, like 6 or 7 minutes, but you know what? It was okay. Unlike Backlash, nothing in this would offend me.
I wasn't offended. I wasn't offended by this match, but I'm trying to figure out I can't pronounce his name now. Sharpie Face. What his problem is with Ishii is that he's trying to prove that he's a tough guy, or whatever. Like, I'm not a fan of, like, he's just like immediately it's like him and Ishii. It's like, and I'm not a big fan of Makabe either.
Toa Hanare. Just practice that. Toa Hanare.
I will pass.
Yeah, he was throwing some lariats at Ishii and no selling Ishii's lariats, and it was okay for him to get some offense in, but in the end, the right team won, and the right guy hit the right finisher and got the win.
Now, I was raving about Juice Robinson a little bit ago, so I don't know if I feel like the right man won here. What do you say, Jason?
Well, when the guys on your team are David Finlay and Michael Elgin, yeah, all eyes are going to be on Juice Robinson. It's like you're kind of the one guy on that team that I like. And
yeah, so maybe that's the story here. One man can't overcome chaos all on his own. Even though he's got 2 teammates, he can't do it himself.
God, the Chaos team of Gato, Jay White, and Yoshihashi. That's like the Chaos Z team.
Yeah, except like I've said before, and Will's probably going to chime in on this, you have it out for Haruki Goto more than I do. Go ahead, Will.
Yeah, I was going to say, I wouldn't call it the C team. I would call it a very solid B team. I think that JY is really coming into his own. Because, when Goto and what's the name, did that little pose or whatever, they're trying to get him to do it, and he's just like, nah, that's not what I do. That's not my thing. So I'm liking the fact that he's a part of Chaos, but he's not really a part of Chaos. But I'm not, of course we all know that I don't like David Finlay.
I absolutely loved how Yoshihashi just murdered him with karma at the end of the match to get the pinfall. It was just like, you are my hero, Yoshihashi, for 5 minutes anyway, because you just killed David Finlay.
Yes, and that's exactly how it feels. Like, oh, you beat David Finlay. Like, you murdered David Finlay. Okay, I can be cool with you for like 3 minutes now until the next match starts.
Yeah, and we already talked about the next match, which was LIJ versus Suzuki-gun, so we can move on from that to the Bullet Club Faction War.
Which was interesting. It was kind of an all-out war. And it was a match. We had some more Cody versus Kota Ibushi tension in the ring.
Just to clarify for the listeners, it was the Tongans and the Golden Lovers versus Cody Page, Skrull, Jackson, and Jackson.
It was a Bullet Club inter-faction war, and Bad Luck Fale ended up pinning Marty Scurll, though the bigger story was kind of at the end of this match where they all, well, Omega didn't, and Cody didn't, and Kota Ibushi didn't, but the rest of Bullet Club came together in the center of the ring and all threw up 2 sweets, and the Young Bucks were kind of hesitant, but eventually both of them got in and threw up the 2 sweets, so it was good to see some unity there, minus Cody and Kenny and Kota.
Right, yeah, there's lingering issues between them that are not over yet, but the rest of the Bullet Club was kind of, they earned each other's respect through war, I guess is the way we're booking this.
Kind of, or they're all, the way I saw it is they're kind of all on the same page, and it's kind of the leadership that has issues. Yeah. It's kind of like they'd be fine with both Cody and Kenny gone.
I was actually going to say that. I felt like the way they have it, or the way it looked to me, like if Kenny or Cody or neither one of them are here, it's like, you know what, we're still fine. But I'm confused now because at one point it seemed like they were going to split Bullet Club up, and now they're not. It's like I just don't know what's going on with this whole entire storyline. So I guess we just have to pay attention to BTE.
I think, yeah, being the elite is where this is going, and as Jason said last week, All In is where this is going. There's not going to be a payoff to this story before that.
Yeah, the Bullet Club leadership is going to be decided at All In. That's the stakes. That's what your main event's going to be.
Mm-hmm. Then, Time Splitter himself, Kushida, and Will Ospreay in a singles match where, my God, Will Ospreay wants to die. I am not exaggerating.
Marvelous.
You know what? I'm stealing a line here from Dave Meltzer. He's going to be the next Dynamite Kid, and by that, I mean he's going to be in a wheelchair by the time he's 40. I'm afraid of that when I watch Will Ospreay do stuff like this, because at one point, the man went straight down on his fucking head. I mean, skull impacting the ground, smash.
And he gets up and lives to tell about it because he is the immortal Will Ospreay.
He's not going to be immortal if he keeps taking bumps on his fucking head like that.
It was an awesome match, even with, I mean, I have the world's biggest Kushida hater. It's just kind of bland. I don't really hate him, but Kushida has had some good matches, especially Kyle O'Reilly, Best of the Super Juniors, whatever that was, 2015. But yeah, Ospreay was the better man today, and yeah, he hit a move after the Os Cutter, which they're calling the Stormbreaker, which was nice because the Os Cutter is getting kind of lame. So it was good to see that. But the big story about this was who showed up after the match was Tama Tonga and Bone Soldier. And Bone Soldier attacked Will Ospreay, and then unmasked to reveal that he was Taiji Ishimori.
Correct, which we predicted on last week's show, but I can't really say we are prognosticators because that rumor had been in the wind for a while.
Yeah.
Can I just say that Ishimori looks like he should destroy the entire junior heavyweight division? And if somebody would have told me that Ishimori is coming to New Japan as a heavyweight, looking the way that he looks, I could believe it. Because he looks just as physically, if not more physically imposing, than half of the heavyweights in New Japan right now. Like, that guy looks like he was chiseled from stone. Like, there is no, like, realistically speaking, Will Ospreay should not stand a chance against this guy.
He's got a better physique than most guys twice his size, and most guys are twice his size.
I was waiting for Jason to say that. Thank you. I knew you had something in there because you were calling him Mini Bone last week, and you weren't making a Both Thugs and Harmony reference either.
Skylo Bone Soldier.
Bone, 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 bone. Meet you
Lord
at the crossroads. Yeah, but not Cody Rhodes. Anyway, main event. Okada and Tanahashi for the I don't know how goddamn many it's time for about 35 minutes.
Exactly. Yeah, it was the 450th time that these two faced off, and it wasn't a bad main event. It's just something that we have seen time and again before, and yeah, Okada ended up going over, and again, the story was really what happened after the match when Kenny Omega came out to once again challenge Okada and kind of up the stakes to get their feud to progress from where it had been before. Not only is their match at Dominion it's going to be no time limit, but it is also going to be best 2 out of 3 falls.
Out of 3. And I am fucking excited about this. I've always said that Dominion is like, they're like show between the G1 Climax and the Tokyo Dome show. It's like their SummerSlam. And when I heard they were doing 2 out of 3 falls, I was like, oh, fuck yes, because that's going all 3 falls, and we know that Omega and Okada are going to fucking bring it in each and every one of them.
My first thought was, holy shit, this is going 90 minutes.
I'm ready for that. I want that. I'm going to sit there with my popcorn and my beer like, fuck yeah, 90 minutes, bring it on, motherfuckers.
Now, can I say, first of all, before I say anything about Omega versus Okada 4, I will say, as a huge Tanahashi fan, that this match did not disappoint me. Yes, they did a couple of, they hit their greatest hits and everything. But to me, it was a really, really good actual fight where these two guys were just going at it, man. And you can see and you can kind of feel the desperation with Tanahashi really wanting to get this win and not wanting Okada to really break the record and stuff, man. Like, I love this match. Me, myself, it's probably one of my favorite matches between these two guys. And I've seen every match they've ever had. But I really, really enjoyed this match. As far as when Omega came out, it wasn't so much, Jason, that Omega challenged Okada. Okada actually laid down the gauntlet to Kenny Omega because, he said he's beaten all of these people, what's left, and then he called out Kenny Omega and was like, he has to beat Kenny Omega because, right now their series is 1-1-1. So, he has to come out on top and prove that he's better than Omega once and for all. And he was like, hey, how about we say no time limit? We've already realized that we can go 60 minutes. There has to be a winner. And then there was like, okay, well, 60 minutes. How about this? 2 out of 3. And then that's when the crowd's just like, oh, because now we know we're going to get something
Which
special.
is nice. Because, New Japan fans have seen no time limit matches, which happens like at the G1 final match, which happens like at the Best of the Super Juniors. Like any big tournament final is pretty much no time limit. That we've seen in New Japan. We've seen gimmicky shit like lumberjack matches and ladder matches, but what we have not seen in quite some time in New Japan is a 2 out of 3 falls match.
I love it. I love it. I want some more of it.
Especially not in a marquee singles match for the biggest title in all of pro wrestling.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Oh, yes, definitely. And I feel like, the one thing that really struck me more than anything else was Kenny Omega's nonchalant attitude when he accepted the challenge. Did any of you guys pick that up? Like, it wasn't so much like he was just
like, in Japanese, and like it was no big deal to him. Yeah, we're just kicking it in Japanese with Okada. Just chill. Like, Okada is there just bathed and drenched in his own sweat, and Omega is there cool as a cucumber.
Yeah, the visual was great. Speaking of great, it's time for Great Sudoku to make some great plugs, because we're coming to the end of our show.
Oh, what can I plug? Let's plug AngryMarks.com. We'll plug me on Twitter at Great Sudoku. I'll plug my cooking blog, veggiebending.wordpress.com. Perhaps I'll update that one of these days with some of the new recipes I've been trying out. And that's what I've got for this week.
And Mr. Huckabee, what do you have to plug?
Well, this week, as usual, follow me on social media. Be sure to follow the Wrestling Nerdcast on all social media at W Nerdpod on Twitter. This weekend, I will be in Dunbar, West Virginia, defending my AIWF World Heavyweight title against one Todd Tyson at International Combat Sports in Dunbar, West Virginia. Be sure to check that out. Buy my new merchandise. Go to Indie Customs. Buy my new World Star Hip Hop inspired T-shirts. It's flying off the shelf, guys. This might be my most popular shirt ever. Other than that, just support indie wrestling.
Support indie wrestling. Support the Wrestling Nerdcast. Support W.A. Huckabee on Twitter. Support Mikavillis, Mikavillis VILLAS, and even support CW Smith, even though I don't remember his handle right now on Twitter, but he is a super awesome producer and makes the Wrestling Nerdcast sound great each and every week. So big shout out to him, big shout out to you, Will, big shout out to Jason, and big shout out to all of our listeners, like Ryan Taylor, like Jonathan Courtwright, like Alan Simpson. We appreciate all of you who tune in. Hey, drop us a line on Twitter if you like Thursday Night AMP, and you can get a shout out on the air too, right here, right now, like we're doing. So listen up, listen in, and join us again in 7 more days. Good night, everyone.